this is what I meant when I said mocking it up. This is pretty much where I want it to be position wise. You want to make sure that you have relatively the same position as you do on the other side, which should be kind of self-explanatory. You don't want to have one on this side that's down and the other side is up. It's just gonna look weird. So you kind of want to make sure that they're like somewhat symmetrical. They should line up in the same way on both sides. I mean, they are made to fit the car in specific ways, depending on if you got something like this or if you got like Origin or, you know, BN or something like that. So once you get to this point, you basically just take the whatever you're going to use to mark it with, and I'm just going to use this pen. Well, not pen, but it's a permanent marker. And just basically mark like where I would be cutting. So I would start the cuts basically on these corners. I hate the fact that the spiders keep on coming back no matter how many times I kill them. But you're gonna start in those corners, and you're basically gonna cut up like a little arch. You don't want to cut the full thing. You just want to kind of make a decent-ish little arc. Like that should be fine, if you can see what I'm talking about. So that should be plenty, because what you're really doing is you're cutting it not just for looks, because clearly if I were to mount this right now, you can see that it's another lip under there. But it's not just for that, it's so that you can fit bigger wheels as well, which is most common with wide bodies, bigger wheel setups. Like, you know, well, if you don't know, I'm putting 19-inch wheels on the car. These are 17s. So this is kind of required, especially if I'm going to lower it on those 19s. And so once you got that all mocked up and everything ready to go, take it off. And you should have your template right there. So now that you know what area you're going to be using, it's time to start grinding it all down to the bare metal. Now, technically speaking, you don't have to grind it down to the bare metal. You could just cut it like that, but that would make it extremely, not extremely, but it would make it a lot harder to cut, since it's a lot more material. And when you have tools like this with these batteries are absolutely terrible. You charge them for about 6 hours, and then you can only get like about maybe 10 minutes of use out of them on like a wire wheel. With a drill, it's fine though. But yeah. So when you got something like that, you want to eliminate as much material as possible to make it easy, so that this isn't like a 3-day job. As you can see, that is exactly what I was talking about with these batteries. They suck. Absolutely suck. If you're going to get a DeWalt cordless tool, just go ahead and get the better batteries. I just used the batteries that it came with, because when I bought the drill, I didn't have any problems, but you can clearly see that these suck. They barely, I mean, like, they work, but they only work for like not even 5 minutes, like 20 seconds. Like, I don't know, you just saw both of these batteries have tapped out within me doing just that. Just that. 2 batteries. It's absolutely terrible. But you can kind of get the gist of what I'm talking about. Like, you want to shave the area that you marked down to the bare metal. So I'm going to recharge both of these for about 4 to 5 hours. And come back out here for another 10 minutes. Hopefully get this down. And then wire this down to bare metal completely. Then this should be good to cut. once you have it all down. So since you already get the gist of what I'm doing, I'm not gonna film the rest of it, but you can kind of see what I was talking about. But yeah, once you get this all grinded down, then you go ahead and cut it. So I'll show you guys that in the next clip. When you get it all done, I do my batteries again cut out as I was doing this last line, so I need to straighten out this last line, but the rest of this is good. Now notice specifically that this is the original paint color of the car. You want to get past that. You want to have bare metal. So you get past the Bondo if you have it, whatever paint color was on the Bondo, the original paint, or any other paint that might be on there. You want to get past all that to the bare metal. I think this is aluminum, probably not steel body, whatever this is. And once you get it to this point, granted, once I finish this little line, once these recharge in the next 4 hours, please, like, if you ever get a DeWalt cordless drill, just go ahead and get the upgraded battery, because these suck, for a grinder at least. But yeah, once you get it to like that, you're gonna go ahead and cut a piece. And I still have the piece that I cut off of the other side, which is this. So it's like messed up now, but you can kind of see how much you're supposed to cut off. But yeah, once I get back to this, I'll go ahead and show you like how to cut it and stuff like that. The actual cutter wheel on and stuff like that. What you want to do, just kind of cut, not this full thing. What I'm probably gonna cut is from here up to there, come around and come back down. So I'm not cutting this full thing. The first thing I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna just paint this surface so that it's not gonna rust when it's in, you know, this condition. So kind of dust it off a little bit, you know, give it a little effort. That's the best thing about having this type of paint for the whole car. You can just go pick it up. You ain't gotta order nothing, nothing like that. So a couple sprays should be good. And I'm only doing this to prevent rust. Because we're still going to cut it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's basically what that's going to look like. Yeah, pretty cool. So now that this whole area that was exposed metal is painted, it shouldn't rust. Even though we're going to continue to cut this, you got a decent, you know, thing going on. I don't really know how to explain it. So while this dries, I'll take a moment to give you guys a little update or anything like that, if you cared about it. Yeah, just like a little update. I painted this because it was looking weird since it went over top of this, because it was looking like how this does. So I went ahead and painted it. I left this orange to kind of accent that. I don't know, I might write something on there, I'm not 100% sure, but since I've painted this and it's looking like a lot cleaner, I've been debating on painting this. I'm not sure yet. Does this come off? Oh, that's beautiful right there. That's wonderful. But yeah, I've been debating on painting this, like taking it off, cleaning it, painting it the same color, and having this whole, at least all of the, I don't know, iron or whatever material this is, at least all of these bits looking like new and painted and stuff like that. But that's one update. The second update, radiator came in the mail. It was supposed to be a while before I got my radiator, but a local guy was selling one, and it's the exact radiator that I planned on getting for like half the price. So I went ahead and picked it up. This is a Koyo radiator made specifically for the S14 with the RB swap. That's why the inlet and outlet is on this side. This is the inlet or out. Well, I think this is the inlet, and I think that's the outlet. So you want a radiator with these on the side. If you're going to be doing the RB20 swap, you can use the KA radiator. That's fine. You'll just need a crossover pipe to come over to that side from there. But this is made for this swap specifically. This radiator is pretty meaty. I don't think I'll have any cooling problems running this radiator. And yeah, I just need to get a freaking radiator cap. So that came in the mail. Happy about that. That'll probably be the next video, installing this thing, because I have to move the LED strip that's on that core support and probably put it right here since the radiator is going to sit there. I think that's pretty much it as far as the updates go. Let's go ahead and run back outside, see if that paint is dried, and see if we can get to cutting. You can see first cut's done. Now it's not gonna just fall out. You gotta kind of, pull it out. So get like a flathead or something that you can just shove in there that you can get to like pull this first layer out. Because let's see if I can show you. There is a second layer underneath that. So you're gonna pull this out and then cut it like from the bottom, from the seam down here. That way you can cut that piece off. So I'm gonna pull this out and show you what the inside looks like. So what I did, I took this screwdriver, basically got it in that groove and just pulled it back enough to take a hammer and hammer it out flat. This is basically what the back side of all that looks like. As you can see, it's kind of rusty. Glad I'm cutting it off. But yeah, that's what the back side looks like. So the next step, you don't necessarily have to do it, but I just wire brush that till it's clean, because I would like to go ahead and paint this area too. So I mean, this is pretty straightforward. You just want to clean now that my batteries have charged and it's been 4 hours later, go ahead and make this final cut. So you basically just want to cut as close to the seam as possible. It's pretty straightforward, and once you cut that, this piece will come off, and the part after that, well, the next step after that, for ease, take this wheel off, jack it up, because you're gonna want to get as much space under here as possible. What you're gonna do is notch this piece, and once you notch this piece, you'll bend it upwards. So just for a visual, you can see how these pieces are notched. Granted, they're not sealed or anything yet, but once I get the car running, I'll be able to take it in and get all this cleaned up. So you're gonna notch that, bend it upwards, and bend it upwards, repaint it for rust and stuff like that, and you should be good as far as this. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and then we'll go about jacking it up, taking this wheel off. This looks a mess, but it's only because that little rubber. Let's see if I got something left on this thing. Yeah, like this little rubber sealant that they have from there, from the factory, gets everywhere. My goodness. But it gets everywhere once you cut it, so that's why it's like fucking terrible. But yeah, got that cut off. I kind of like, as far as the cut job, I did great up until this point. This area was being a pain in the ass to come off, so I just cut it the best way that I could. But this area follows the seam perfectly. So there's that, and then like I said, the next step, jack the car up, take the wheel off, because you want to get under here and notch those, and you don't want to have this much room with a cutter wheel
that's clearly going to go straight into your tires. Like there's, I don't know, unless you're just that precise. So let's go ahead and do that while I recharge my batteries again. There's a lot of room under here. Then something that I was like thinking about, because people have been asking me ever since I test fitted the wheels, like how much camber I'm gonna run. And I was like, shit, I don't even know if I have a camber kit, but I just looked under here and it looks like I have a Megan Racing camber arm. So if I want to, I can just go ahead and go all stance on people. But we'll see about that. But back to the regular point, like you have a lot of room to work under here and with the notching and everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and notch these while I got this, and then we'll start hammering them up. And then this is what I mean by notching everything. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna paint this as it is before I hammer it up. That way it'll kind of help with rust prevention, because it's gonna be a while before I'm able to weld this down. So just real simple. Same paint. Some people they like to use undercoating for it, like bed coating for it. That's not a bad idea. Nothing wrong with it. Makes it more rigid and stuff like that. I'm just not going to. Because all this is for is rust prevention. Is not supposed to be any show type of thing, you know. That looks about right. Make sure I save some for the actual fender itself, but looks about right. Then let that dry, hammer these up, paint the bottom, and then we can go ahead and drill holes to mount the actual overfender, because now we have the clearance for it, or clearance for the wheels at least. I got it hammered up and painted, and this is the absolute best that, at least as far as I know, this is the absolute best that you can do without welding it or anything like that, and to prevent it from rusting out later. So that's what I'm gonna do with that. I've already drilled the holes in the fender, in the overfender for this. So you just mock it up, take a marker and like mark where the holes is, and then you drill them out on the actual quarter panel. Just like that. Little marker, make a mark for the holes. Make a mark, because you're not gonna be able to drill these out with the overfender on there. It's pretty simple. You just want to make sure that you got all these holes right. There we go. Now you could go ahead and just pull this thing off. That is where you will drill the hole for your rivets or riv nuts. As you can see, these holes are a lot bigger than these holes. You want to drill a pilot hole first and then drill your actual holes. That's why these are huge compared to that one. Just want to throw that in there for anybody that doesn't know. Majority of you probably already know, but yeah. And you can kind of see like how the layout is for the wide body. Now this isn't specific to just this one. You can do this with the overfenders that, you know, basically replace this whole panel or just cover that whole panel. You could do that the same way. I guess it would be one right here, you know, going down and across and stuff like that. But it's the same method, so don't worry about that. All the holes and made them big enough to fit the riv nuts. And you're going to need one riv nut for every bolt that's going to go in there, so count that out. But getting ready, make sure that you paint these, because you don't want that exposed metal to still be exposed. So just go ahead and spray some, you know, real quick paint right there. This paint is dry, so I'm going to go ahead and start to put these in, bolt them up, make sure everything's good. Then we'll bolt that up and make sure that everything's good with that. Once that's bolted on here, any type of adjustments that need to be made, you would make them, and then take this off, paint it, slap back on there, and you're all done. And basically just like that, bolt it up, make sure everything is good, and you're set. So that's the finished product. I do have to go back and drill the hole out on this overfender a little bit bigger so that I can fit this bolt in there. Everything else was fine though. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with paint and everything like that. That is successfully how you install an overfender to a car. S14, doesn't really matter, just in general, overfenders, that's how you take care of it. Yeah, I mean, some people, they do the little weather stripping thing. I don't really like the look of it. I feel like that black line throws the whole thing off, so I'm not doing that. But if you want to do that, you just add it in between there when you bolt it up, and that's pretty much it. So that is gonna be it. I will go ahead and leave you with this montage of when I did the other side, but I also test fitted my wheels with these just to see how it would come out. And, you know, yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and follow the build. More things coming. Got to do the side splitters, custom side splitters. Oh, in the midst of me charging my batteries and everything like that, I'm out at the radiator. So that's all good. Got the brake master cylinder installed. That's all good. I'm leaving this off until I actually put the radiator in, because that's going to go across the radiator. That is the LED strip that was once right there, but I can't run it right there because the radiator blocks it. So I think that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys, support if you can, if you want to, if you care about me, and go ahead, clean this stuff up, paint this, and call it a day.